Ever feel like the weight of your business is all on your shoulders? After 39 years in media production, Cynthia Kay has learned that true success comes from laying aside earthly cares and trusting the King of all. From losing her job to building a top-rated company, her journey is a powerful testament to using God-given talents to serve others and lead with integrity. If you're a leader looking to anchor your career in something deeper than the bottom line, join us for this episode of Anchoring Hope featuring Cynthia Kay.
That challenge in my life is what led me to really grab hold of the idea. I always thought I would own my own business, but I came to that point and then I was like, gee, I don't know. Do I know enough? Is it time? Should I wait? But that challenge forced me to get out of my comfort zone and to start the business. And it has been the most amazing adventure. And over the years, we've had challenges. All businesses have challenges. It's a very, very important lesson. And too many people don't think about it because they're afraid to think about it. What will happen if I leave my business? You know what? It all depends on how you've structured it, like you, right?
Hello, and thank you to the Anchoring Hope podcast. In this episode, we'll have Cynthia Kay with us. Remember that this episode is to glorify the Lord Jesus Christ with the testimony of the business leaders and people that come to actually show how their faith has gotten them to where they are. And Cynthia is one of those amazing examples. Cynthia, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for the invitation. I'm delighted to be here.
Cynthia, for the audience, can you give me your full name? What do you live and what do you do for a living?
Sure. So it is Cynthia Kay, and I am the owner of CK & Co. Media Productions and Cynthia Kay Biz, which are communications companies. And I live in Michigan. And, you know, people in Michigan love to go like that. I live over here. We're the hand. So have lived in West Michigan pretty much all of my life. And it's just a beautiful place to be.
That's beautiful. Tell me, what does your company do?
So we have a very kind of unusual position in the world. We create communications for other companies. And so if someone is looking to educate or inspire or sell something, we create the digital communications that they use to communicate with all of their stakeholders. And I spend a lot of time helping people become better communicators, get their message across, be able to be effective leaders within their organizations and within their communities.
That's fantastic. So basically, it's like a marketing company, but only focused on the communication part.
We focus on the communication. We create a lot of marketing communications, but we also create training. We create leadership communication. So pretty much anything that anyone needs to communicate, we do. And we do a lot of business to business, a little bit of business to consumer.
That's amazing. How did you get started, or how long have you been in business actually to begin with?
So I've been in business. I'm going into my 39th year.
Wow.
Yes. So
congratulations.
Yes, I'm still 25, I think. But I actually started in broadcasting. So I ended up working for out of college for a local CBS affiliate and then an ABC affiliate. And then left the world of broadcasting because I really wanted to do what a lot of people do, which is have more control over the kind of work that I was doing and frankly, my destiny. I think that this is a lot of the American dream. People dream of owning a business.
Yeah. I believe the entire society in the free world is set up for entrepreneurship. I think if we had more businesses, we will have less problems.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think sometimes people have a view of business owners and it may not be quite accurate, but specifically when I speak about small business owners, these are good people. These are people who employ people, who give back to their community, who care about the kind of work they do. I mean, those are the people that I know. And that's what happens when you own a business. You get to create that kind of environment and that kind of work family, really, that you want.
Yeah, for sure. It's beautiful. I mean, I have the privilege to know different societies and different cultures. And when you see a country that is pro-business, you see a prosperous country.
Mm-hmm.
When the large majority of the middle class is sustained by small and medium-sized businesses, that's where you see growth, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, there is a place for large corporations, but when you go to a place where the corporation, it gets too big, these huge multinationals, and nothing wrong with that, but then they tend to act like a government, isn't it?
Well, and I'm very blessed because we have small companies, big companies, nonprofits that we work with, and every kind of organization has its advantages and its disadvantages, right? I happen to love small business. I just, I love the people. I love the entrepreneurial spirit. So it's been the perfect fit for me.
So did you go to school for broadcasting or communications?
Well, it's interesting. I thought when I went to Michigan State University, I actually went on a scholarship for music. I have a passion for singing and did a lot of musical theater and some light opera, never the heavy opera, but as I got through my school work, I ended up with a lot of the ability to take other courses, and I had this interest in TV and radio, and so I got a double major in music and TV and radio. So, and then decided to pursue the broadcasting. And so what I love to say is although the music gave me my start, about the only place that I use it these days is that I direct my church choir.
Praise the Lord, though. That's a very important assignment,
Yeah, it is. And it's something that really allows me to, express my faith through liturgical music. And that has just been a blessing.
One of the things that really attracted me when I got the privilege to meet you was that you are an Orthodox Christian.
Yes.
And I have been fascinated by all the denominations of Christianity. And one of them is Orthodoxy, specifically Greek Orthodoxy. And I do believe that, I don't know, I need to do more research, but I do believe it's one of the most realms of Christianity that stay the purest, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because I think, those of us who were brought up as Orthodox Christians, I'm going to say, I think we take a lot of things for granted, to be honest with you, because we were raised in the faith, we were raised with going to church, we were raised with the liturgy. What I think sets Orthodoxy apart from maybe some of the others is that it's very grounded in liturgy. So for those who are of the Catholic denomination, it's very similar to a Mass. Liturgy is very similar to Mass. But it is, sometimes people call it high liturgy, for lack of a better word, but it is very much as it was back in the days when the church started. Orthodoxy has not strayed far from its roots. And, for us, when I was growing up, the priest always called it the religion of love. That was the way he described it, that there's just great love. There's not fear. There's not doing something because of something. It was just very much a loving kind of atmosphere.
And that's what the Lord wants. I mean, if you look I've been researching scriptures lately, and the Lord has been asking me to read the fruits of the Spirit. Mm-hmm. And I think I have it here. Galatians 5:22 to to 23 says, but the Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruits in our lives: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control.
Yeah.
There is no law against these things. So it's telling us how to live. And this is exactly what your priest is telling you, which is the truth. We Christians tend to get involved in the opposite of this, which are the fruits of the flesh. So when you follow your human nature, you're going to be depressed, right? You're going to be in hate. You're going to be desperation. You're going to be anxious. It's against the patience, right? You're not going to be kind to people.
Yeah.
And you're going to behave badly. You're not going to be faithful to your job or your wife or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you will not have self-control. And when you see those two things, it really describes the Christian faith. If you're a true Christian, you are to abide under these conditions, and then you will have a beautiful life.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and it's interesting because someone was asking me today about liturgy and specifically liturgical music. And what I said is, for me, liturgical music is like praying. Some people pray. We, because of the choir, we sing our prayers. And for me, the music gives us direction, right? It helps us. One of the things that they were saying, what's one of your favorite phrases from the liturgical music? And we sing a song every Sunday, and part of the song says, lay aside all earthly cares so that we may receive the King of all. And, if you just take that one line out of that one hymn, what it tells us is, and I'm, we're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. We get so wound up in what we're doing and we forget that as much as we think we control things, it's God that controls things. Yeah. All the blessings come from Him. I mean, I'm always impressed when I see people who give credit to the Lord for all of the good things that they have in life. We also have to give credit for some of the challenges that we face because it makes us stronger, right? And so I think, I think as Christians, we have to take the good with the bad, right? And know that all of it is supposed to help us to become better people.
Jesus Christ said it Himself.
Yeah.
In this world you will have trouble, but take heed, I already conquered the world. Which means if we abide in Him, if we abide in Christ, we're going to go through the problems. Yeah. The problems are inevitable. I always tell people, you wish to grow in your life, you wish to get better. Guess what? Only a conflict, a test will get you there.
Yeah.
It's like going to the gym, right? If you go to the gym and you don't lift enough weights to your arms, you're never going to grow.
It's interesting you should say that, because early in my life, when I actually lost a job in broadcasting, it's not unusual to get fired when you're in the broadcasting world. My father used to joke, you're no one till someone fires you, right? Because then you were important enough to get fired, right? And so that challenge in my life is what led me to really grab hold of the idea. I always thought I would own my own business, but I came to that point and then I was like, gee, I don't know. Do I know enough? Is it time? Should I wait? But that challenge forced me to get out of my comfort zone and to start the business. And it has been the most amazing adventure. And over the years, we've had challenges. All businesses have challenges, but you start to believe, if you believe, which we do, you can overcome these things, and so and I will tell you one thing that I think maybe Orthodox Christians we're not as good at this at many of the other folks. We tend not to be outspoken about our faith. Yeah. If someone asks me about my faith, I am more than happy to have those conversations. It's not something I was raised to go talk about. Faith for us was, in here. You kept it here.
So how did the church grow? How did the church keep together?
Right? That is, by the grace of God, evidently. It's very interesting. I will tell you, in the more recent years, I see this in my own church, and I see this in churches across the country, that many people are coming to the faith. And a lot of times they're searching for something. I will tell you, in my choir, I have a number of people who have converted to the faith. And you might say, oh, well, the choir is the perfect place for them to be. But understand that when we sing both in English and in Greek. Can you imagine singing in Greek if you never spoke the language before? It's a challenge. But think about these people who have come to the church, and we have many people who are coming. I think there is a thirst right now, and I hope there is this, that people are trying to find their way to the Lord. And I've always been one that has said, when I was growing up, my parents sent us to Catholic school. My mother was so delighted that we could go to a school where there was faith. There weren't Orthodox schools. And I learned so much about my faith, the Catholic faith, by going to that school. It gave me one of the best starts in life. I mean, I believe a faith-based education is priceless to people.
If you look at the United States of America,
Mm-hmm.
the minute they prohibited the Bible in public schools, everything went down the drain. Tell me how many people were killed at schools before, when the Bible was taught in the public system. Nobody. Very rare. Look at it now.
Yeah. I am
a Christian country.
Yeah. I am afraid for our children, because I believe there are so many pressures on them today. There is so much going on in the world. And so, hopefully they find the path. But I think, as just as a baseline, I will tell you, one of the things that I believe in is, and put religion aside, let's just put religion aside from it. One of the things I look for when I'm hiring people is, are they good people? Are they people who are people of integrity? Mm-hmm. Are they people who are honest? Do they have the right values? Are they ethical? Are they hardworking? I mean, to me, that's an important thing. Love it if they have faith, but that's not something I would talk about. But I think it's important that we have to start to value the goodness of people. And we have to help people find the right way. And, there are so many people that, in the business world that are good people. That, too often we hear about the ones that are not ethical, or that, but there's, and those are the things that get publicized. We don't hear about all the good things that people are doing.
And I think the good people is the majority. I still believe that, because
I believe that too.
If our society hasn't crumbled down, it's because there is still honesty and efficacy. And I think these people that are behaving well, if they don't know of Jesus, they're very close. Because if you are abiding under the 10 Commandments, if you have a Christian faith-based business without knowing it,
yes,
if you follow those 10 Commandments, you are a Christian-based faith company. Even though you might say your values are this and this and that, but if you look at the values and then you actually align them with the commandments, it's like, oh, that's what they works for us,
There you go. And we need more of that. Absolutely.
Right. Cynthia, what was in your mind to open your business? I mean, you were already an employee, so you got kicked out of one of the jobs, right? What's happening next? How did the Lord inspire you to open a company? It's not easy. I tell people the hardest thing in life is a small business. I mean, it's business life, right?
So I will tell you, I was extremely blessed in that I had a role model in my parents. So my father owned a small business with his two brothers. It was a dry cleaning business, and I saw how he loved his work, how he loved his customers, how he valued his employees. I mean, I really got a chance to, they were a small business, right? But I had the chance to watch my dad. And so I always kind of thought I wanted to start a business. I also think that, selfishly speaking, when you look around the world and you say, oh, I don't like this, or I don't like that. When you create a business, you have an opportunity to create something that is in line with your values, right, and the kind of work you want to do. I love to be creative. I love communication and talking with people. I love to help people get better at communicating, because when people are better at communicating, they're happier, they are more prosperous, they are able to share with the world what they do. So I love what I do. And it's interesting because when I opened the doors, my dad said, honey, do you know what you're doing? I remember him saying that, almost like, oh, do you know what you're doing? And I said, Daddy, of course I know what I'm doing. I've watched you all these years, and I want to do this. I knew there was a chance for failure. There's always a chance for failure. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I truly believe is that that all things are doable, that there is a path to doing this. God doesn't do it for you, but God gives you the talents. You have God-given talents, right? I didn't have the ability to sing and direct choir. God gave me that ability, which is why I'm supposed to use that, right? God gave me the ability to open and run and grow a business. And so it is it's my responsibility now to help this next generation take the business on. I spend a lot of time with young entrepreneurs and second stage entrepreneurs, helping them, mentoring, showing them how to do that. And someone said, well, why is that important to you? And I said, because if you teach people how to work and how to do something of value and how to create something, you don't just elevate that person. You elevate their family. You elevate the employees that they hire. You elevate the families of those employees. I mean, there's that multiplier effect. Yeah. So you're doing good in the world when you help people to meet their potential. And you know what that is.
You know what you just said? When you said God gave you the ability, He gave you the gift, right?
It's a gift.
Yeah, what you're doing is, I just reminded me, I just Googled it. Deuteronomy 8:18 says, remember the Lord your God. He's the one who gives you power to be successful in order to fulfill the covenant He confirmed with your ancestors with an oath. Another verse says, He is the one who gives you power to produce wealth.
Yeah, He does.
But He doesn't say He's going to give us the wealth. He says He gives us the power to produce wealth, which means it's an actionable item. You have to go and do it.
Yes.
You're not going to just sit down and it's going to rain from heaven.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because I believe very much in the power of people to get where they want to be. It takes hard work. Look at athletes. They don't just become good athletes overnight. They spend a lot of time and they practice and they hone their skills, and it doesn't matter what, sometimes people go, oh, you're a natural at it. Well, you know what? Maybe, yes, God gave you some ability. You have to develop it, right? That's on you to be able to do that. And so, I try very hard to, sometimes you do something and you go, I really shouldn't have done that, But we all do that, but you try as much as you can, right? And then frankly, when you don't do it well or you fail, you pick yourself up and you figure out what you did wrong and you go back out and you try again,
And that's the thing, right? The power of pivot. This is the thing that I learned early in my career, in my business life. I failed so many times, Cynthia, but I was doing the same thing. I wasn't seeing progress because I was trying the exactly same strategy until somebody told me, full insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. I think Einstein said that.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, I have to pivot until I finally figure out.
Yeah.
One of the greatest things for me was marketing, right? So every company needs marketing because you need lead generation. That's the first step in the chain, right? In the value chain. The marketing was me. I was going to conferences. I was doing this. I was doing that. Always moving, always visiting clients, always, doing events. It worked.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? I was working 17 hours a day. I didn't see my kids. My wife didn't see me for a long time. And it worked. I got clients. But then I'm like, okay, if I keep doing the same thing, the whole company depends on me, number one. So I cannot sell it because I am the one bringing all the new leads and all the new clients. So I got to figure out how to do it. So we started doing email marketing, internet marketing, this and that, and nothing worked until finally something pivoted and something clicked. And I'm free from that. And now the company is growing by itself.
Yeah.
Like it should, with a proper marketing team and a proper sales team,
So, often in business, the bottleneck is the owner or the leader. Sometimes they are the bottleneck because everything is flowing through them. I have always said when I've hired people, teach the next person to do it, because then you get to do something more fun and more complex. You get to go learn something new. That has been the foundation of everything I've ever done. My goal is to work myself out of a job, right? To let all these other people use their talents to be able to do their job so that I can take the next step. I've written a number of books, and for me, that's a way for me to share what I've learned. And it's really, really important because if I had known some of the things that I now know after 38 years in business, I might not have made some of those mistakes, right? But so my next career, as I move into my thing, is I love sharing knowledge. So I've got a book that'll be coming out shortly. And it's all about the decisions that business owners make. Should you stay running your business? And if so, what should you do? Should you go and move on to the next adventure? Knowing when it is time for us to move to the next thing in our life is a very important lesson. And that's what sometimes business owners don't do. They don't know when to take that next step up and let other people come up under them. Yeah.
So I was talking with another entrepreneur yesterday, and we talked about the value of running a business like you want to sell it. Mm-hmm. You may not want to sell it, but if you run it like you want to sell it, you're going to have a company that is self-managed, a company that has a strong EBITDA, so strong net profits, a company that has a strong culture, and knows how to handle itself. So that's what happened to me. I mean, I wanted to have a company that was sellable at any time, self-managed business, not necessarily because I wanted to sell it.
No.
I guess if there's somebody with enough money that, enough money to say, okay, this is really life changing, or although I don't know how I can change my life when I'm filled with the Holy Spirit, right? But, since I did, everything started to become better and better. Don't get me wrong, though, the process was horrible. When I decided to have a self-managed company, half my profits went away because I had to hire people I didn't have to hire before.
Yes, of course.
Invest in systems that I didn't need to, right?
But here's what I'm self-promotion here. My book, Small Business, Big Success. You know what chapter number 2 is? Have an exit strategy before you open the doors.
Wow.
It's exactly what you're saying. And the reason for that is if you know how you want to exit it, you will know how to grow your business. You might want to grow a lifestyle business where you are maybe with a couple of other employees. Maybe you want to grow a business where you are able to just manage it and other people come up like you are having a second in command. Maybe you want to grow your business and sell it to your employees and move on to the next adventure. If you know how you want to exit, it helps to drive how you work in your business. It's a very, very important lesson. And too many people don't think about it because they're afraid to think about it. What will happen if I leave my business? You know what? It all depends on how you've structured it, like you, right? I jokingly say to my employees, what happens if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, right? I'm always getting hit by a bus. Why? Because I'm educating them about how to run the business, about how to do things. Knowledge is meant to be shared. Too many people want to hold on to it, right? They don't want to give it away. I say the more I give it away, the more that comes back. And that's an important thing, But, for small business owners, there are a lot of struggles, and a lot of them, let's look at the statistics. Most businesses don't make it past the first 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
And me at 39 years, I'm like in this tiny little percentage of businesses up there that manage to last this long.
You're almost like a unicorn. I've been in business for years, and I almost been bankrupt 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
And hard times come back. Now I know there are cyclical. So when they come, I know I have to press down. I have to lay off people. I have to do whatever it takes to survive. And then prosperity comes back again. But I believe it's like a roller coaster, right? So you get great, you get fat, you hire more, and you have more indulgences. And then something happens in the economy or in your own decision making, and trouble comes. You don't have enough for payroll. You have to slim down. You go to the gym. You develop muscle. And you're great. And then profits come back again, and then you get a little more fat again, and it comes back.
And as I look at it, I'm going to tell you, in my span of business, I've been through 3 economic downturns and COVID.
Wow!
All right, and we have done well. We have survived. We have thrived. Not always easy, but this is where I believe if you are resilient, and if you believe in what you are doing, and you produce quality, excellent work, you will survive. Yes, you're going to have to make some adjustments. We all do, right? But I think for the most part, if I have to bet on someone, I'd rather bet on myself, right? And that's what most small business owners will tell you. We'd prefer to bet on ourselves than somebody else.
That's another thing, right? Like people, I had very good jobs before I started to jump into the business world. I had very good jobs, with corner offices and a lot of benefits and, a big bonus at the end of the year. And, at the end I was reaching 3-4 week vacations. And when I decided to open my own business, people thought that I was crazy. Like, you built all this career and you're giving it away. But I remember one time I was working for this spin-off of this huge telecommunications company in Canada, the biggest one. And they spun off a new business with 1,000 employees. 1,000 employees was a startup for them.
Wow.
That was part of those 1,000 employees. One day, a Friday, I noticed that some people had pink envelopes in their decks. I didn't have one. And then the people that had the pink envelope left to the town hall. And then they never came back. So I asked what happened. And then I saw my email. Sorry, we had to let go 500 people today. No notice, just like that. When that happened, something sparked. I always been an entrepreneur. I think, like you said, the Lord gives you different abilities when you are born. You come with abilities. I was made a leader since I was in my mother's womb. But that created something inside of me because my wife was at home with 3 kids. I had to pay a mortgage. And I'm like, my Lord, what happened if I wouldn't be the one with the pink slip?
Yeah.
So I said, I have to work on my own business. So it took me 3 years to open my own business from that point. I started consulting at night. I did things like I started prepping myself. My wife went back to school. She got a good paying job so she could pay the mortgage when I was in my second business test. But it was that. And then people tell me, you're crazy. I'm like, no, I'm going to depend on multiple clients. You depend on one client because you're still giving your time to somebody. So you're still, if that one client leaves, you don't have any job. You don't have anything. You go bankrupt.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, I spend a lot of time talking to business owners, and not everyone is cut out for that.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to know if you are the kind of person who can be resilient and can weather the ups and downs, the goods and the bads. And you get excited about the possibilities of what you're doing. That's not for everyone. Some people are better suited to working for someone else, and that's great. It's trying to find out where you fit and what gives you the level of comfort that you need. I know, like you, when I started my business, I was teaching at a university full-time as an adjunct faculty for 2 years while I was starting my business. I had 2 full-time jobs, and I did it happily and loved doing it, right? And then I couldn't teach a 3rd year because the business exploded and I needed to be here. But I think, people who are entrepreneurs are very resilient, and we understand that there's a lot depending upon us. We hire people, or if you're a solopreneur, let's say you're a one, you still have people who support you, right? You're still paying other people, you're giving other people income and jobs. So, but being an entrepreneur, it is a very unique kind of place. I couldn't go back to work for anyone. I would never be able to do that. I know some people who have tried, they've owned a business and then tried. That did not go so well.
It's true, Cynthia. I had that too. I remember, I think it was back in 2015. I really looked at my heart and I said, I don't think I'm employable anymore. Because at the beginning, when I started the business, I'm like, if this fails, I still have my resume, I can get a job. That was my mental fallback. My safety net was, if this fails in 1, 2, 3 years, I can always go back and get a job. That was it. But eventually, when life, like my business went through, I'm like, Father, I don't think I can get a job anymore. I'm not employable anymore. I couldn't stand it.
It's true. But, and that's okay. What's very interesting to me is if you look at what's happening more recently, people are working longer and longer. And sometimes it's out of necessity, but also it's because people find purpose in their work. And so sometimes people will exit a job or a company or sell a company, and then they do they start a side hustle. It is another job that gives them joy. Sometimes they're doing something that is a talent that they have, a woodworking, or they love painting, or they love caring for people, but people are starting all kinds of jobs, sometimes in their 60s and 70s, to find purpose again in their life. So it's interesting what people get from jobs.
For sure. Now that you mentioned that, my accountant just mentioned that he's retiring, and he's been with us since 2011, and he's almost 60, but he's not even 60. I'm like, what are you doing retiring so early? And he said, no, David, I wanted to be always a university professor, but this career would come better on me, and I had a few episodes where I could actually teach kids, and this is my passion, and now I have the financial stability to do so, and I already have offers from universities where I could actually teach part-time. Mm-hmm. So the retirement for him wasn't go watch TV and play golf. No, it was for him, I'm going to have work on my other passion.
Yes. Well, So my next book that's coming out that I talked about, one of the key things that I say is look at yourself. And if you are a person who thrives on being needed and purpose and that, before you leave your business or your job, think about your next adventure.
Yeah.
You have to. So he has found his next adventure. So he's not going to go golf, as you say, or sit on the beach and eat bonbons. He's going to do something that still gives him purpose and that he loves to do. And I think that's a really important, my dad, God bless him, when he sold his business, he had a passion for bridge. He used to write the bridge column for the Grand Rapids Press, and he would play bridge and he would direct bridge. He would go and direct bridge games at bridge clubs how many days a week, and he loved it. It was like his job, right? And it was a passion of his. So he would go to the bridge club and direct the bridge games, and then he would go and help my sister in her business, and he would love to do that. I mean, up until he was 92 years old, my dad had a job doing something,
Beautiful, right?
and he was the happiest man, just the truly happiest person, because in fact, when my sister sold her business, he said, well, where am I going to go to work tomorrow?
So, it's true, Cynthia. We find true joy when we do what the Lord sends us to this world to do. And you have to figure it out. And it's not going to be easy. But if you're frustrated, for people that are listening, if you're frustrated in your business, take a look at your heart. Are you in the right business? Or are you in the right place? Right? Because your passion will follow your joy. So first you follow the passion, you act on your passion, and then the Lord will fill you with his joy, because he made us to fulfill a specific job in this world. That job can change with time. For example, with me, right? I was very passionate about my business for a long time, but that ended. When I made it a self-managing company, I still run it. I still work a couple of hours a week on the business. But now my passion is doing this. Getting knowledge from amazing people like you and Bless.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Listening to all of this actionable knowledge, right?
Yeah.
It's still attached to business, because this is a business podcast with faith, right? Which is for me the most important thing. But for me, to the end of until the Lord calls me to do something else, I will glorify him by interviewing people on how to live a life that Christ wants you to live.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful.
Cynthia, so what's the next thing like for you? It looks like 39 years, next year you're 40 years. What you gonna do? What's in?
Well, I'm actually already on to my next adventure. So my next adventure is, I have always loved the teaching, the writing, the speaking. I love working with groups of people. I will go anywhere and speak to I love it. So my next adventure, I've already set up my company. Actually, I did it a couple of years ago, and I'm working to moving there full time, but it is writing and helping other entrepreneurs and other business people to achieve their next success. And so if anyone wants to reach out, Cynthia Kay biz.com. But that's my next adventure, helping other people. And I have a number of places I'm already working to do that. But that brings me joy. And so that's what I will be doing. I will be writing and speaking and helping to train business people, and that's where I'm going to get my next passion. And at church they tell me I can't quit the choir.
That's good.
Because they haven't found another director.
Never do that, because praising the Lord, worshiping the Lord is your most important thing, right?
Well, but and so next on my plate, though, also is to train the people who are coming up behind me to also take over the choir, because it's important. That's an important part of liturgy, and I want to make sure that if and when I'm not able to do that anymore, that there are other people who are coming up who are trained and can do that. Because for many people, that liturgical music is an important part of worship.
Amen to that, for sure. Cynthia, thank you so much for your time. 45 minutes have gone by, and it's fascinating. You made my day, for sure. If people like to follow you, or you just said the email, but are you on LinkedIn? Where else?
I am on LinkedIn, so just look up Cynthia Kay, just Kay, and look for my picture. And I always love it when people reach out to me. I am always willing to connect. So I would look forward to doing that. And maybe when I finish my next book, you're going to invite me back. How's that? I will let you know.
Did you show me the book that you showed me before, and where we can get it?
Small Business, Big Success, and it's on Amazon. And honestly, It really is a roadmap for business owners from startup all the way to stepping out. So it just won, I'm very proud of this, it just won one of the top 20 best business mind books of 2025. So I'm very excited about
Congratulations.
that. Thank you. Well, it was a labor of love. And it's not just my story. There are stories of business people from all over the country in here, everyone sharing their wisdom so that others can benefit.
Fantastic. Cynthia, thank you so much. We'll make sure we put the link to the book. And when your book is done, let us know, please, so we can do another podcast and talk
I
about
would love to. And thank you. Thank you so much. I so appreciate the chance to speak with you. And you are such a good soul. So God bless you for all that you do.
Praise the Lord for that. And God bless you too. Goodbye. Thank you for watching another episode of Anchoring Hope, where we're shining the light in these last days and hoping for the best, because the best is in the Bible. Please share this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also check other social media for more content. And as always, remember, Jesus Christ loves you, and I love you too.